Cryptocurrency is a medium of exchange of digital currency. Some people say that it's the currency of the future. I say it's the currency of now.
Hey guys, welcome to Crypto Talk live here in Houston, Texas at the Motive Studios. I'm your host, Ryan Brown. I know I've been gone for a little while, and I know you guys miss me. I miss me too when I'm not doing this, when I'm not talking crypto. But even if I'm not on the air talking crypto, you better believe that I'm out here. I'm a crypto evangelist. I'm out here going to meetups, creating meetups, and learning from other people, teaching other people that don't know about it, and things of that nature. So first thing I'm going to touch on, it's not even going to be about cryptocurrency, but today, the show's kind of done last minute, and although I'm going to have a few on-air guests, we kind of had a little schedule conflict with some of our guests who were supposed to come in the studio, and so I used that as an opportunity to bring on a very special guest in the studio. So, Devden, look into your little camera over there, and tell the people about yourself.
I am extraordinary kid. You might have seen me on my parents' posts, and I am 7 years old. I like to game a lot, and
I think you might have to speak up. I'm not sure if they can hear you.
Okay.
You don't have to start from the beginning, though. So you like to game. What else?
I'm 7 years old, and my family likes to go on vacations a lot. It's fun.
What's been your favorite vacation?
My favorite vacation was the one to New York.
What'd you like about New York?
It was, I don't know, it was just really fun.
Did you like New York more than you like Texas?
No.
Okay,
Nothing can beat Texas.
Then you have a rightful place in this family. So, I understand you wanted to see what Steem it's all about. If you guys are tuned in and you don't know what Steem it is, I'm sure most of you do. Steem it is a social media platform to where when you click the like button, it's the equivalent of giving someone a tip, so your vote has some value. And I've been very active in the Steem It community, and my son was interested in getting an account, so we got him Extraordinary Kid, which is managed by his mom and I. So he can't run amok, not that he would, but just wanted to. So don't go looking for Extraordinary Kid on Twitter or on Facebook. You can only find him on Steem It under the close supervision of his overprotective father. Thanks for introducing yourself. Now, so to start off, I'm going to have Joah. Joah is from Coinigy, and Coinigy is a platform which integrates all exchanges. I'm not sure if there's any social media gurus that are chimed in, but I used to use something called Hootsuite. And Hootsuite was a social media platform that allowed you to do a single post in one place, and then it would send it out to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and all the different social media accounts. Well, from what I understand, Coinigy does the exact same thing. So we're going to go ahead and get him on the air and find out what Coinigy is all about and how it can change the crypto community.
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, Joah?
I am very well. How are you today?
I am doing good. I do have a question for you. Is it possible for you to get a video feed, or are you just going to do audio?
Yes, I can do a video feed. Hold on one sec. Let's see if this works. Hold on. That's not a good video feed. Let me use a different one. There we go.
I see you now. All right.
Is it working?
Oh yeah, it's working. We see you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna? Are two little kids gonna come scurrying in the background, and a Chinese lady's gonna come and pick them up? Can we expect that?
No.
No. Okay. That's CNN worthy right there.
My daughter isn't old enough to run in here yet, so no, she won't be running in here.
Yeah, I totally understand. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I got one of my kids here as my special guest in the studio. You want to say hi, Deborah?
Yes.
You have to say hi.
Hi. Hi.
All right, so let's talk Coinigy. You know, we talked for a little bit, and I know I gave my explanation, but that's my take on what Coinigy is and how it can be beneficial to the crypto trading platforms. So if you could just give us, I guess, your elevator pitch or a rundown of how Coinigy should be explained.
Sure. So Coinigy is really powerful because we integrate with a lot of exchanges, not all exchanges. We would love to claim that, but we're not there yet. Eventually we may get there, but as new exchanges are constantly coming online, we can't keep up with everything. But we are integrated with a lot of exchanges that it basically unifies the experience so that you're able to trade and do all of your orders and alerts and stuff from one place rather than having to use multiple platforms and stuff to do that. You're able to do like balance, tracking, and stuff like that from our platform without having to manage multiple wallets and stuff. You can track it all in one place using Coinigy.
Okay, so what, I guess my next question would be, what are the main exchanges that that you're going through? Is it kind of like Bittrex, Poloniex, and those, or is it some of the other ones?
We have honestly, so let me clarify something up front. I'm a trading amateur. I'm a developer first. I work as a developer on our platform, and I'm more of a trading amateur. I am not an expert in that sort of stuff, but we do have we have over 30 different exchanges. So definitely not just the major ones, but we're not going to have all of the minor ones. I'm looking through the list, and the names that I recognize are like Binance, Bitfinex, Bitstamp, BitMEX, Bittrex, like you mentioned, CSEX, Sexio, GDEX, Gemini, all of these different exchanges. And we have more than I just said, that we support, that we integrate into our platform.
Okay, and so what's the how does someone go about utilizing it? Like, give us a run through
Sure.
of what we could expect.
Okay, so once you have a Coinigy account, you go in and you would go to your Poloniex account and you would generate API keys. And then you would hand Coinigy, you would go and enter those in your account and connect the two accounts so that your Poloniex, you would enable trading and stuff on your Poloniex API keys, put those into Coinigy, and then Coinigy uses the API to pull in that data into our system so you're able to track the balances and place orders and stuff from Coinigy on your Poloniex account. Because of how this is set up, we actually never at any time touch your crypto. It's all just connected, integrated into the exchanges, so that stuff is still happening on their side. But we can interact with that through the API.
Okay, so if you guys, and this is a question I'm sure people would be curious to know about. If you don't touch the crypto, how exactly do you get paid?
How do we get paid?
Yeah, how would you get paid?
So
Coinigy.
we charge a membership fee for the app. It's $20 a month, I think, right now. It might have changed a little bit. I can't remember 100%, but it's something like that. You pay a membership fee. That's how we get paid.
Okay, so, and can the membership fee be paid in crypto?
It can. We allow payments for our semi-annual and annual. We don't allow monthly crypto subscriptions.
Okay, so
you do get a price break for doing that.
So everyone who does it annually will, so everyone has to do it annually, ultimately.
No, you do not. You can pay month to month, and month to month it is. I'm trying to find our pricing because I can't find our current pricing. It's something like $20 a month. You can pay that in US dollars with your credit card, Or if you want to, you can pay semi-annually every 6 months, or you can pay annually for the whole year. You don't have to pay annually for every account. But if you want to do that, there is that option, and you can pay that in US dollars or crypto with Bitcoin.
So are there any types of, I guess what I'm trying to say, are there any types of cryptos that you don't think will be on the list? Because I know it's going through all the different exchanges and everything is being integrated.
Right.
But let's say, for instance, something like Tezos. Tezos had a few issues a few months back with SEC and some other things with their ICO. Is there a way to filter out those types of coins, those altcoins or ICOs that are experiencing some level of, some level of issues in terms of how they're handling their funds?
So what we do is the exchanges that we integrate with, we pull in all of their available markets. So you have access to everything that they offer. Filtering out specific coins, we haven't implemented that. You can select certain markets that you're interested in trading. So if you're interested in just managing like Bitcoin Cash and stuff with Coinigy, you could go and just favorite and tag the Bitcoin Cash markets as the ones that you wanted to keep track of in there, or whatever that may be. We don't have a way of filtering out specific coins like you're mentioning, but I don't know when those coins would really get in your way because of how the site is set up.
Okay, so one of the things like that just brings a new question to mind. You were just talking about how you can choose if you wanted to do just BCH. You can choose just BCH. So how do you marry the proper pricing? Because Coinbase's BCH price may be different than Poloniex. Poloniex is maybe different than Bittrex, and GDAX may be off a little bit as well. So how does that work? The variation.
What we do, you're right. So what we do is we don't combine the markets. So if you have a BCH to USD market on GDAX and you have a BCH to USD market on, or USDT on Poloniex or something like that, we don't combine those markets. Those are still two separate markets in our system where you can trade individually. You can choose to go, okay, I want to go and use my Poloniex account, trade on Poloniex. I want to use my GDAX account, trade on GDAX. What we do offer, though, is like an arbitrage matrix. So it will show you all of the different prices across the exchanges. If you wanted to try to execute an arbitrage position to make money that way, if you're interested in doing that. We don't touch your crypto at any time. It still lives on the individual exchange. So if you have BCH or BTC on an exchange, it pulls that data into Coinigy, but we can't transfer that to a different exchange through Coinigy because we're still not touching your money. We're just telling the exchange what to do with that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the API ultimately acts as a mediator between the exchange and yourself, but you guys never actually touch any of the funds or the crypto. So you're just telling them, okay, move this from this and execute this trade. Okay.
Exactly.
So how many registered users does Coinigy have now?
Oh, that's a good question. I know it's upwards of about 15,000, but I think it's grown a lot since then. I'm not exactly sure the current numbers there, but we are growing a lot. We've grown a lot within the past year, and we're doing fairly well. Okay,
so what's the when did Coinigy start? Like, I guess tell us the backstory.
Okay. Dang, I should have those answers. Here, let me. So Rob and William are two founders. They founded Coinigy in their homes and hotel rooms, wherever they found the space and time to start working on the platform, because they wanted to start this platform of being able to take multiple accounts and integrate them in one place. he told me, he just messaged me back. He said they started in May 2014 taking on alpha users, and we've been growing since then. We have a lot more users than we did then. I joined the team in 2016, so I haven't been there the whole time, but I've gotten to see some of the good growth within the past year. Let's see, alpha users May 2014, started talking to paid users in February 2015. The company was founded in August of 2014. So that gives you an idea of they've been working on the platform for a while, and it's grown a lot because of the growth of popularity with crypto within the past year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're working on a new revision of our platform, which is going to, I think, even bring us even more competitively to the space of this portfolio management system. It'll be really exciting. I'm excited about that.
So it's safe to say that probably in the month of November or September, November, and December, you've probably seen the highest growth of users.
Oh yes, definitely.
And in fact, that's apparently when I became a crypto expert, because all of a sudden everyone and their mom is calling my phone wanting to know, like, so what's this Bitcoin stuff you've been talking about for all these years? You know, now they cared. But I was just curious about that, because surprisingly enough, although I had seen Coinigy, I'd never touched it, mainly because I only deal with a few different cryptos, but I do understand the benefit for someone who probably trades 20, 30 different currencies, how much easier that would be. Like, for instance... Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't even trade that many cryptos, but there are some that aren't available on one exchange, but are available on another, and just trying to keep track of those is difficult whenever I can't just go, okay, this is how much... Because, again, I'm a crypto amateur. I think of everything in US dollars. I want just one place that I can go and say, okay, this is how much money I have right now in crypto, spread across all of these different accounts and exchanges and stuff, but I can see it all in one place. And Coinigy is useful for that. Okay.
Well, do you know what BitShares is?
I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
But I'm not super...
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you know. I mean, just BitShares is just the one that I've been using. Although it's on its own blockchain, I've been buying quite a few of their tokens here and there over the last year, and I'm just wondering if that would be something that would tie in to Coinigy, so that I don't have to, so I don't have to keep bouncing from all these different accounts. Because honestly, between Ethereum, Swarm City, I got quite a few Swarm City tokens now, Steam-backed dollars, Bitcoin, BCH, and BitShares. Those are really the only ones that I deal with, because honestly, I don't want to get swamped. And I can't.
It's super easy to. Yeah.
So one of the things, I guess, that I'm curious about is, let's say it's a new user, someone who's new to crypto, they don't have a wallet, they're not on an exchange. Excuse me. Would Coinigy be a good place for them to start? Or is it?
Because it doesn't act as its own wallet, it does not act as its own exchange. You can sign up for Coinigy and look at the prices, and that is a quite legitimate use of Coinigy, just to kind of track where things are at. But to actually take full advantage of the platform, you're going to want to have an exchange hooked up so that you can place trades and stuff through Coinigy using our tools.
Okay, so now is there a possibility that, considering that you're using APIs to connect to the external exchange, to what extent I don't know, but will there be a possibility that someone could go to Coinigy and maybe open up an account with, say, a Coinbase account within Coinigy?
That is a good question. Right now, we don't have any plans to do that sort of thing, but that is, I would say that is among the possibilities, that we could do something like that. Like, what you're saying is like a deeper integration with a specific exchange, being like, you come to Coinigy, you sign up, we give you an exchange account, and then you're ready to go. We have considered doing something like that. We don't have any plans right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know that would definitely be a deeper integration into whomever, but then also you can only have so many different exchanges that you suggest or recommend. So in the event that you do something like that, it may show that you're being partial. But also, I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
I know that you're not on like the core business team, but I mean, it actually probably wouldn't be beneficial to have some sort of affiliate account with someone else and be like, well, if you sign up with such and we recommend you sign up with such and such because we actually get money from it.
Right. We've tried to take a more impartial view, like you said, just to kind of keep ourselves as this third party there, where we're friends with all of the exchanges because we bring them more people use their platform whenever they use Coinigy, and I mean vice versa. We need people on exchanges to use Coinigy, and they enjoy having people using their exchanges through Coinigy. Because we still, I mean, they still get all their fees and stuff when you trade through Coinigy. We don't take trading fees, but they still get all the same fees that they would normally get.
So is Coinigy available in an app store?
It is not currently. We're about to start the beta of our iOS and Android app, and it is going to be amazing, but it is not currently available in an app store.
So would there be, I guess when you start the beta, who are you sending that out to existing users or?
So yeah, we're allowing any of our existing users to reach out and say, hey, I want to try it out, I want to be a part of the beta, and they're welcome to do so. Where it's an opportunity for them to give us feedback on the app for different things that they like, they don't like, to find bugs, that sort of thing. Before we take it push it live and put it just available in the App Store for anyone to download.
So then there will be what's the incentive? Like I guess you can't really say at the moment, but like when you get the beta version, will you still be paying $20 a month? Or
you will still be paying $20 a month. Basically, for our users right now, the users that are currently on our platform understands that it's a web-only service for the time being, and getting access to being able to trade from your phone is actually really convenient. And like I have enjoyed using the beta of the app myself, just because it is really nice to use. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely trading from your phone is good because there are times that I want to check pricing or I want to do transfers and I have to pull out my phone, I'll pull out a laptop, and then I'll have my other computer too, and I'll try to multitask or just kind of integrate everything from 3 different devices. Like there's times that there's a wallet that I only have on my phone, a Bitcoin wallet, and occasionally I want to send something, but I find it troublesome, like if I'm trying to send it from the computer, because then I have to figure out a way to get the wallet copied and sent from one device to another. So yeah, I sometimes I have creative ways of doing it. So as you can see, like although it's come a long way, there's still not very many fluid ways to do some of the most simple things, and that's why something like Coinigy would be of a great benefit. Do you know if there's any plan in the future to have a coin associated with Coinigy?
No, there's no plans in the future to do that. We're very wary of the state of the things, of just ICOs and stuff like that, that put their name out there, put their company's reputation on the line, and then fail to deliver. And we don't, I have no specific examples. I'm not thinking of anyone in particular. I'm aware that this happens, and we don't want to put ourselves there. We don't want to, like, make it seem like we're trying to scam our users out of anything because
Yeah.
I am hesitant to talk like that because I know that there are legitimate ICOs out there, but there's just so many, it's hard to pick and choose the good ones.
Well, that's, I guess, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 21.
Okay,
21.
so, not that you remember this, but one of the things that, when I was younger, was the .com boom and bust. And there were people raising hundreds of millions of dollars, but in this time, they were for, like, venture capitalist money. There were, you know, private investments and IPOs, and a lot of these projects never came to fruition. Some of them never came to anything but an idea, much less someone actually trying them. And it's crazy because I'm seeing this all over again with ICOs. So I can imagine why anybody would be hesitant to start a coin, because moving forward, like, ICO is going to become a derogatory or negative term, I feel. Just because there's a lot of, I don't want to say they're charlatans and pirates, but, you know, I'm sure there are a few among us, and we get to see it occasionally. And I think what's boggled me the most is when an ICO jumps up. And if anybody's listening and don't know what an ICO is, it is an initial coin offering. It's the equivalent of an IPO, like a stock share that people can buy into either a project, an idea, or a company. So, as I was saying, sometimes I see people invest into something that they don't even have a working product. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just salesmen among salesmen. So, So, what else do you think would be important to know about Coinigy? Let's say I got some listeners who, I'm very active on the Steem community, and I would imagine that most of those people, like, they have money invested or just like saved up in Steem and Steem dollars. Is there any way that there's a wallet that integrates Coinigy into Steem?
So I just went in on Coinigy real quick because I'm not super 100% familiar with Steem, but we support Poloniex, Liquid.io, and Bittrex, which all have Steem on them. So yeah, you can trade Steem on Coinigy.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you know what? I should have I technically answered my question, because earlier when you said some of the major exchanges that you're already working with, that right there, I don't know why. I guess I let that one go over my head. But yeah, definitely, I actually trade Steem through all those accounts, so you would have access to it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess with some of this stuff, it's so new. Sometimes I have a hard time wrapping my head around how it works. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't necessarily know how a light switch works. You know, I just click it and the lights come on. But yeah, so where can we find more information about Coinigy?
Coinigy is at www.coinigy.com. We're on Twitter, twitter.com/Coinigy. We have YouTube. I think it's youtube.com/Coinigy. We have lots of, we do a podcast, the Bitcoin Altcoin Trading Talk. We have lots of instructional videos and stuff on there about our platform. Let's see, I think that's about it.
All right, and I'm assuming none of you guys are on Steem it either.
Honestly, I don't know that we are. I'm sure my boss is, but I'm not super familiar with Steem. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard you.
Go ahead.
I heard you describing it with your son earlier. I mean, that's pretty cool. The whole upvote is actual, like, it's Steem coin, I guess.
Exactly. So what's interesting about it is I was in a Bitcoin cryptocurrency meetup in Lafayette, and big shout out to those guys over there, Brandon Taylor and Bob, who owns Prejean's restaurant in Lafayette, is where we had the meetup. And there was a lot to learn with such a small group of people. But I remember when he was going through his idea of the things that can come out of cryptocurrency, one of the things that he said was, hey, it'd be really cool if there was some sort of decentralized platform where people can hit the like button, and instead of, you know, just getting some dopamine, it's like giving someone a tip. And then I'm sitting here with a smile on my face. I'm like, actually, it exists. And that's the crazy thing about this crypto space is there's so many things that exist,
right?
That there's so much for us to learn every day. And I think most people that are like legitimately into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology are kind of on the same wavelength, because we're all thinking it would be cool if we could do this, or this technology could be used to do that. And then but really, if you just sat and looked it up, or researched it, you'd actually find that someone's already tried it, or someone's actually working on it, or it actually already exists, and there's a case study for it, or proof of concept. Like, all those things are actually there. That's what I love about this. I mean, you would think that I would have been on Coinigy before. You know, you would think that I'd be explaining to people like, hey, look, if you're really talking about day trading, this would probably be your best bet, because you can put all your portfolios in one spot. But yeah, I mean, now I can do that moving forward.
But there's just so much; it's hard to manage. I mean, you can't keep up with everything. Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess with us talking about all the new stuff that you learn, and this and that, what have you learned about crypto? I'm kind of going off script now, but I'm just curious. Like, what's the most recent thing that you've learned about cryptocurrency?
So on Monday, I hosted a crypto meetup for my little town here in Texas, and there were some really cool things shown. One of them was, I think it was Crypto Map. Are you familiar with that?
With Crypto Map?
Crypto Maps. That's what it is. CryptoMaps.org.
Yeah, and it tells you where people accept crypto?
Yeah, well, no, not actually. That's not what this one does. This one shows you basically all of the cryptocurrencies that exist by size of their market cap. So it has a big block for Bitcoin, and then all of the coins that have forked from Bitcoin are grouped with that one. It's really a visual thing, so it's really hard to describe it, but it is a really neat tool to just go and look at, because you can see really quickly like where all of these coins are coming from, how big they are in terms of their market cap, and just get a real quick overview of everything at once. That was pretty cool.
So basically what you're saying is, if you look at Crypto Maps, at the top you'll see like Bitcoin, and then you'll see all the different forks, like a family tree, I guess, right?
Right, yes.
I've never heard of that.
Yes. It's pretty cool.
So what, like the person who showed it to you, is it something that they use? Is it something that they created, or, you know, like...
That is a good question. They didn't create it. They ran across it just randomly, because you know how it is. And they thought it was really cool, so they brought it to share at the meetup. I don't exactly know, honestly, what day-to-day purpose that someone could have for that by like being able to see it all in one place, but it is a really neat visual tool, being able to visualize everything at once.
I guess I'd probably go as far as saying maybe the use for it would be that if someone, like let's say they wanted to fork a code, or if they wanted to just research, it'd be a good place to start, you know, to be like, to realize, oh, this one's on this blockchain, so that's where I'll start. But yeah, as far as day-to-day use, hey, maybe it'll be good for me to post up here one day. You know, I can post it in here. So it's a, like you said, it's a visual thing. What's it called?
It's called CryptoMaps.org.
You think we can get CryptoMaps.org up? Yeah, I want to take a look at it. Yeah, we're gonna try to get that up so the viewers can see it.
Crypto Maps?
Yeah, CryptoMaps.org. Actually, no, the site.
Oh, you want me to actually show this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No? All right. All right, we're having trouble pulling it up, but it's cryptomaps.org, and I think it'll make a good, what do you call it? It's a good way to explain to other people, and it's informative. Like, I'll be doing a couple of webinars here, not shortly today, but like in the upcoming weeks, and that's definitely something that I could show so people kind of get an understanding of how it works.
You wanted the site?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, just a site.
oh,
Yeah, our picture. All right. Yeah. Well, we're having trouble getting it up, but I mean, that's cryptomaps.org. That's one of the new things that Joah just learned, and I'm gonna hunt it down, and I'm gonna just dive into it. And by next week, I'll know everything. I'll know the parent of every crypto, every coin, and nobody can get anything by me.
This is another one that I wanted to touch on real quick. It's called Solume.io. It's like a volume, but with an S.
Mm-hmm.
And what it shows is the social media. Are you familiar with this? I mean,
No, I am not.
have you? Okay. So it shows the social media volume, like how much people are talking about a certain coin or commodity from all of these cryptos. So, like, obviously Bitcoin is at the top of the list right now, but then you can see, like, Ethereum is number 2, Tether is number 3. It's really, really interesting to look at because you can see, like, different trends and stuff all visualized with, it's in just a table format, but it has, you can kind of watch the correlation between the amount people are talking about it and the amount that the price changes and fluctuates.
Yeah, actually, I just pulled it up. So basically, it looks like a web crawler that kind of goes through the web, and I'll just show you anybody if you're able to see that.
Yep.
So right now it's showing the different trending coins, and that's based off of just Twitter tags. So that's Solume.com, SOLUME.com. See, that's what I like about having meetups and having these conversations is because there's always something new to learn. There's always new information to share.
Right.
So you do developing. Have you looked into mining? Because from what I understand, someone last night, or whatever night you had the meetup, someone brought a miner.
So someone brought an Antminer D3, which was pretty cool. I honestly had never seen one of them before. It's a rig that is built and designed just for mining. He bought his on eBay like right before like stuff started taking off. I say started taking off. He bought it in about August, so it was before Bitcoin went up to like 20K. But so he's been able to like kind of watch it. He keeps it running in his apartment. He has 2 of them, and they are very loud. But it's really pretty cool. The machine that he has. The mining that I've done cloud mining where I don't actually run and maintain the equipment. I have done it on an AWS instance, which is basically just like shared computer space you can rent from Amazon. I've also used Bitcoin.com's mining pool, which is what I am currently bought into. And it returns fine. It's pretty interesting, really, to watch and see how that goes. I have mined Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash through those. I haven't done much more than that myself.
So when I've never done any mining, but that's going to be my next. That's going to be my next goal, I guess, this year. In fact, I saw someone posted an Antminer for sale. It was more of a loan, I guess. They were like, "Oh, I really need the cash. You use it to mine, and then I'll buy it back from you."
Right.
But I probably would just buy it and keep it and just continue to buy more. But one of the things that has prevented me from buying any mining equipment, whether it be GPU or the actual dedicated miners, is that I don't know how to set the nodes up. You know, I am not a programmer
Right.
by trade. And I'm sure it's not that difficult, but given the fact that I've never done it before, I
It's
don't...
scary. You don't have any idea what you're getting into. I get it.
Exactly. So I'd love to spend $4,000 on a piece of equipment that just sits in the living room and I can tell people it's actually a Bitcoin miner. It's not
Right.
mining right now, but you know, it's a conversation piece or a conversation starter. But
Right.
that'd be a waste of money.
So my friend that does mining in his apartment, he uses prohashing.com to do his mining. I'm not super familiar with the tool, but he showed it off some on Monday at the meetup. And basically what it does is it connects your miner to a pool of miners. So they're all working together to work out whatever specific coin. He has his miners set to be only mining the most profitable coin at any given time. His uses the X11 encryption protocol, and so that, I don't know, it seems really cool. His is constantly switching between all of these different coins, whichever one is the most profitable at any given time. With prohashing.com, it also gives him the ability to track his electricity usage and its and the cost. If you know your area's cost of electricity in kilowatts per hour, you can input that in there and it'll keep track of that for you, which is really cool.
So
yeah,
with pro hashing, it connects to the miner, but is there still some sort of a node, or can you just get it and it's like a plug and play? You go to prohashing.com and
So that is a good question. I do not know the answer to that because I haven't set up one myself. From what I understood, it was fairly simple. He had issues initially connecting it to his network. You have to connect it with a Cat5 cable directly to your modem or router or whatever. But after that, it was fairly simple, as far as I understand.
Huh. Well, that makes me feel a lot better. That's something, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I can actually set one up and demonstrate it. But I'm sure it's probably a lot more efficient to use a node that you have at home, but something that's already simplified. Obviously, there's going to be a cost associated with that, but at the same time, it's convenient. So that's definitely something that I'll get into. Well, hey, Joah, is there anything you'd like to leave us with? How can we find you? How can the listeners find you?
Sure, I'm at the real Joah G on Twitter, and I'm joahg.com. That's how to find me.
And spell Joah for us.
It's JOAH. So my Twitter tag is the real JOAHG.
I gotta ask you, what's the origin of Joah? Is that
Joah's from the Bible, actually. It's a really obscure name. You don't hear about it very often, but that is where the name's from.
So Joah is a biblical name. You know what? It sounds familiar, and I guess that's probably why I was like, it sounds familiar, but I don't believe I've ever met anyone named Joah. I've met plenty of Jesuses, well, Jesuses at least, but but never a Joah. All right, well, hey, if you heard him, it's joahg.com, and you can find him on his Twitter, The Real Joah, right?
The real Joah G.
At The Real Joah G on Twitter. And I look forward to finding you on Steem It. But we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that off air. I want to thank you for coming on air and explaining to myself and the listeners about Coinigy and how it can be an effective trading tool for people that are trading currencies.
No problem.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So you heard from Joah, and we sat here. We learned a little bit about Coinigy. I learned a couple of things. You probably hear a little noise in the background. Here, can you show that kid for me? Here, look in your camera.
What's up?
What did you learn?
I wasn't really listening, obviously.
I don't know, obviously. So go ahead, lean towards the microphone. Oh, okay, you're good. And tell us, why don't you look in the camera and tell the listeners what you just learned about Coinigy.
I really wasn't listening.
What were you doing? You have to look in the camera.
We were just playing on the Switch that he brought.
You were playing on the Switch?
Yes, that he brought.
Well, you were supposed to be learning something. How can I trust you to take over my crypto business if you don't pay attention? Who am I going to give the business to? I'm just messing with you. I don't even have a crypto business. But, it would be nice if you kind of paid attention, but I guess when we get home, there'll be no Xbox time. It's cool.
Sure.
All right, so I'm just teasing him, guys. He sees me do crypto all day, every day at home, hears me talk about it. So this isn't uncharted territory, but I would assume sitting here watching me have a conversation with someone else can be quite boring, and I had the foresight to bring the Nintendo Switch because I knew that he doesn't like the idea of making money. He likes the idea of playing video games.
Really?
So we're going to have another guest that we're going to link up with. Have you ever heard of Steem Punk Radio? That's STEEM Punk Radio. It's another Steam-based project that deals with taking all the information, putting it more in a media type place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the guy who's the brainchild of the Steem Punk Radio. I'm going to get him on air. He's a frequent caller, and we stay in contact with one another pretty often. And I'd just like to hear what he's got to say. Yeah. All right. So, meanwhile, while we're trying to get him, yeah. Hey, Frank. All right. I was about to just shut off and leave. I was gonna go get in my truck and go, man.
I'm probably behind the times here because I'm listening to your feed live, so I must have been on a long delay. I apologize.
No, it's not you. There is a significant delay when you're watching online. It's probably, I think it's about a minute, but that minute still kind of adds up.
So we're live. We're live and direct.
Yes, we are live and direct as usual here in Houston. So, what do you're in Denver, right?
Well, I'm around.
You're around.
I'm on the move. I'm on the march. There's a speaking of Steam It tag that's circulating now. Where is Frank Bacon? So it's going to be. We're in the cyberverse right now. I'm in no real physical location, but I gotta hand it to your kid. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to that guy either. I didn't know what he was talking about. That Coinigy was very confusing to me. But I could tell it was like $20 a month or something. So.
Yeah, well, at least you caught the important part, that it costs $20 a month. But no, it's basically if you trade a bunch of cryptos, like please stop spinning. All right, if you trade a bunch of cryptos, it's a place where you can go and execute the exchanges, execute the I guess the trades in one place. Go ahead.
You brought up something really important in that conversation, and I wish you had gone into a little more detail. But I'm with you. I'm like, haven't you heard of BitShares?
Yeah.
I mean, we're into second and third generation guys, coming up with the ideas that we still haven't perfected on the original. This is, you remember when I was on your show the first time, and I was complaining a lot about the Steem economy. And, I'm a big curmudgeon, man. I complain about a lot of this stuff, but I don't come at it from a, completely surly attitude. I've been in crypto now for many years and been enjoying it. But it's one of my major complaints is that there's all these crazy ideas and people are raising money or there's something that costs, but I don't really see anything being done like the level of Steem It. And, I detract from Steem It quite a bit personally, but it's still the most functional blockchain out there for doing what it can do. It's amazing to me that a lot of these guys don't even join Steem It to get their project a little further along or get their project a little notoriety. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does boggle my mind that so many people don't know about Steem It people that are in the crypto, because when I talk to people who are, well, it depends, but I was going to say when I talk to people who are on like Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media platforms, they don't quite. They love the idea of the money, but Brandon Taylor, the guy who runs the Baton Rouge meetup, one of the things that he said was, I was like, they don't get paid anything, but they do. And he was like, well, they get paid in dopamine,
Exactly.
And I was like, you're right. I guess like some people care more about how they feel, than what monetary value can be derived from it. But it's just, I mean, honestly, you can get dopamine on Steem It, because what's the phrase that was going around last year? Came for the money, stayed for the community.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful way of saying it. It is true. It's a good community. It's an interesting community. It's the best community for crypto people out there. I'm getting 60, 70, I'm going to hopefully get an 80-year-old onto the network. I'm trying to teach them crypto so that they know that this is one of the last things they really have to kind of learn. The folks that I deal with are not interested in a lot of high-tech, gadgetry and stuff like that. And one of the things that Steem is beautiful at doing is showing this nice, clean community. It is a clean community. There is a lot of junk on there. I pulled a troll like a herpes virus the other day, but it's very rare. You know what I mean? It's just very rare. So the nice thing is I can control the news feed to get all this information that I would otherwise be, scouring looking for. I've come across some pretty interesting stuff today alone, and that's why we were going to talk, was about Steem Punk Radio being a punk radio project, not a pirate radio project. I'm coming at this from the angle of a punk radio project.
So you're not pirates, you're punks.
Yeah, exactly. And the purpose of that is to kind of extend that community into the radio world, not on FM, not on AM, but internet streaming for right now. We don't have a major audience. There's many players that are involved. I'm not taking the captain's seat. I'm not in charge anyway. I'm a fictional character in my own sci-fi novel, which happens to be on Steem It. So I take great care talking about Steem It in many ways. Very good, because it's my home. It's the only place that I exist right now. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram or anything like that. In fact, I finally left YouTube recently.
Yeah? Did you leave YouTube for DTUBE?
I left YouTube for reasons. there were some reasons, and I was just kind of done with it. But I don't do videos. I have uploaded one thing to DTUBE. DTUBE is growing. It's getting better. And people are predicting that it'll be a YouTube killer. I don't think there's ever going to be one thing that'll kill anything else. It took a long time for MySpace to die. Remember?
Exactly, and it's still around just for people to host their music. It's funny you say that, because there won't be a YouTube killer, because in order to be a YouTube killer, you have to be a Google killer. So it's going to take something. It's going to take another conglomerate, because
and that's what these blockchain guys should be doing. They should be building blockchains that do that. Instead, they're all building blockchains to make themselves money. They're a bunch of jerks, as far as I'm concerned. Not your last guest. I didn't mean that about Jonah. I just don't know enough about Coinigy right now.
No. I mean, Joe is a developer.
Please don't take a personal offense.
I mean, as you know, in conversations we've had, like I'm very keen to money. Like I'm either driven to earn it or driven to spend it.
Well, you're a different type of entrepreneur. That's why we get along so well. You understand value.
Exactly. Because I mean, one of the things that, like you said, it's kind of frustrating, because you see some of these ideas come out and it's like, this technology truly could change the world, but people have to look at it, explain it, and express it differently than just like today.
Well, use it. I think using it the right way. Like they gotta set the precedence. They gotta be an example, and be, that's where I get sidetracked and get into kind of my curmudgeon attitude about Steem It, because here you have the developers that were behind it. They're not even using it. I mean, I'm tripled, quadrupled the amount of posts that a lot of the guys that were involved in Steem It at the beginning do. Even the ones that are still around, don't even post on it. And it's like, come on, guys, you built this. Oh, and then you just look into the record keeping and you see, I see they pre-mined it out. So now they're just waiting for us to do all the heavy lifting and do all the work and make their platform valuable for them.
Well, remember the pharaohs didn't build the pyramids.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah.
I was going to say, do you remember Tom from MySpace? I don't believe he ever posted. Other than when I first joined, he'd be like, "Hi, I'm Tom, your first friend." I'd be like, "Dude, I don't know you," you know.
Yeah.
And I would say that
Dan?
Steam, it's probably, yeah, it's the same way. There were a few people that were active, or at least it was there was a perception of them being active. So I mean, to this day, I'm not sure if that was the idea. The idea was we're gonna build this and let everyone else build on it, or if they were like, oh, this is going to be our baby and we're going to nurture it and take care of it, you know. So like, is it?
Well, one of the names that comes up quite a bit on the platform is at Dan, and we know who that is. I'm just going off of at Dan, DAN, and that's the other part of Steampunk Radio, is to stick with, you know, Steam It handles rather than, you know, doxing people in their real jobs or their real life. But you know, this Dan guy can come in and write a post, but he strikes out the rewards for reasons that, you know, would become clear to people that can, you know, look into that and know what that's about. But to deny the rewards, and he could be making hundreds of dollars just by posting something like, "Hey everybody, it's Dan," and he would make hundreds of dollars on that post. Or, "Hey everyone, it's Dan," like Tom, "It's Dan, welcome to my social network that I helped build. Here's how you use it," and he could make $1,000 or $2,000 off. But apparently, you know, they think that would be like raping the rewards pool. But I'm saying that's exactly what the reward pool would be set up for. All the interested people that were in it from the beginning, starting to build their content base. That's how they should have been paid. So they kind of broke that model. We're learning a valuable lesson here. But I'm certainly looking forward to the blockchains that do things like reassociate. Have you heard of Hydra, for example? Hydra is a decentralized blockchain for cloud database management.
No, I have not heard of Hydra, but it sounds like what's that? It sounds like G.I. Joe.
It's actually from Captain America, Hail Hydra. But yeah, it's a blockchain project where they were building the value of the blockchain based off the computational cloud computing that it would represent. So again, you know, everybody is just running around trying to create a new coin. I found this new one called Qubit, and I think the guy that sent it to me is not listening, so I can tell you all about it. I think this is whack, but this guy thinks that Satoshi Nakamoto has come out of the shadows. You got to check this out, Qubit.gold. Qubit.gold makes no sense at all.
Is it a dating site? Because one just popped across my feed the other day. I forgot what it was called. But yeah, Cupid.gold.
Was it a dating site?
Yeah, it was a decentralized dating site. Clearly, that's being funded by and in the Chinese market, but being marketed to the overly consumptuous American online dating market.
Yeah, and see, that's a smart move. I broke that. That code a while back when I started using like LinkedIn for dating. It's just, you know, we don't need another Match.com or anything like that. If you think about it, like Steemit is a perfect dating site. You know, people could use Steemit for Yelp. They could use Steemit for Reddit types of things. They could use Steemit in place of building an actual website, and yet that simplicity, that ingenuity of that, the innovation there is lost. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. It's
fine.
Lost on most people. You know, you and I, as these kind of crazy entrepreneurial spirits now, and I know many in your network because you get around to the meetups and you talk to some extraordinary people. You know, it's not lost on them, and that's why it's probably more important just to build the community and build these meetups and stay focused. Like, I want to create meetups where people can come together and actually explain to one another why they would be investing in something or what they think the next big ICO is. And so you get more eyeballs on it. You get a lot more answers to these questions rather than people jumping into the FOMO or people jumping into the, you know, just the fanfare of getting involved in something that their friends might be involved in. That's how these billions just got made recently in the ICO markets. You know, there are ICOs I've never heard of, and they're in the top 10 now. I'm like, where did these come from? I was watching a whole bunch of other cryptos. So it'd be nice to get together with a community that, you know, a bunch of people are keeping eyes on different cryptos, and you're consolidating that information and trying to get people a real knowledge base to base their decision making on. Steemit's doing that. You know, it's already doing that. So I'm looking less and less into who's coming up with the next blockchain, and more into who are the people that are taking all the available blockchains that are there now, like Dash, for example. Dash is still one I'm waiting to turn very, very potent, and I think it's going to here pretty soon. Have you heard the latest on Dash?
No, what's the for those of listeners who don't know, which I would assume that you all do, Dash is short for digital cash, and I will let you explain what new update.
There's a project called Alt36 where they were trying to build a point of sale system on a crypto, and I think they've adopted Dash, and they're focusing their point of sale on the legal and lawful cannabis business in 29 states. That's a $36 billion industry right there. That's a great idea for driving, especially a crypto like Dash, which is really designed to be a payment rail with fast and instant and private send features. But if nobody knows how to use it, it doesn't go anywhere. So somebody had to come along and build a use case like a POS system, and maybe put that POS targeted to one particular industry that's doing very well right now, and that's the cannabis industry, and it's one that needs it right now. Cannabis has all kinds of banking problems because of the bureaucracy of the federal and state level regulations.
Exactly. So by decentralizing it on that sort of POS network, because honestly, like, obviously there's certain things that you can do, but actually, for example, I was using BitPay's their point of sale service on my website, Steem.cards. Yes, that's Steem.cards. And yeah, you love how I plug that. And what happened is, so someone made a purchase, pardon me, and it was a very small purchase, $25. Well, I received a message from BitPay saying that my merchant account was deactivated. Meanwhile, I'm using another one as well, which accepted the payment, but they gave no reason, no explanation. No one answered the phone, and I'm not quite sure if my customer actually got their money back. They did get their product because they ended up paying in Steem, but I'm not sure if BitPay gave them their money back. And remember, I don't know if it was you or someone else, but I was kind of going through my thoughts the other day, and I was complaining about how all these, like, I believe it's Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase. And
Chase is the newest one, yeah. Chase
and
it's like money transfers now
and
charging through the nose.
Well, they have some of the, they have some coins and patents that are blockchain related. And it was really frustrating because I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Meanwhile, these people sit here and they're like, oh, I'm going to build this, I'm going to build this. And there's this huge community of people who share the same idea and the same vision, but yet somehow it's too difficult for them to come together or to fund these projects for people who understand the technology to do it. Meanwhile, you let these other companies who have deep pockets, they just go and buy up a whole bunch of patents. I can guarantee whatever patents and coins that these people bought, they probably won't even be the ones to develop it. They're just going to let some other person come along and develop it and hit them with a cease and desist or intellectual
they'll
property.
It's the same thing they use in the energy business. Any kind of good patents on fuel saving techniques and things like that. This is the nature. What's great about decentralization and not having to take ownership of it. And anybody that starts to trademark or put patents down or anything in this particular industry is, number one, an idiot. But number two, probably very dangerous. You just don't want to be around those people anyways, and that's mainly the folks in the banking industry. They think that they can control this stuff, and the idea is that the regulation of this is in the code, and if people don't like the code, they split the code, and you Hydra. You get two, you get a fork, and that's what we're dealing with Bitcoin right now, is a bunch of people tried to insert more code into it. That's what Bitcoin is right now. It's people that try to get code inserted, and it's split. And Bitcoin Cash, in my view, is the real Bitcoin, and time will tell. We'll see a flipping happen at some point.
Exactly.
So not to take that into a different direction, but I think it's all tied together. You know what I mean?
I mean, actually, it's all tied together, and I would I would like to see that the people who were kind of here in the beginning come leverage the technology and use it to integrate it into the current systems that we have, because the systems are there and the systems are in place, but the more we let these larger companies come in and start to develop things, they'll create the standard to adhere to their position, which they already have, their position of power, their financial position, and then it'll just become another banking institution, whether it's decentralized or not.
It's something that we got to work against. I mean, as a fellow crypto nut, I'm totally against that, and that's why I love the idea of things like, in one sense, I love Steem it for the sake that it's not Facebook, and that it's not going in the direction of Facebook, and it's probably not going to go in the direction of Facebook. That's what I really like about it. But if it does, and enough people don't like that, guess what they do? They split it, they fork off, and they create their own thing. So that's why I don't really see the powers that be getting the same kind of level of advantage that they've had, especially in like the energy markets. Like the oil companies have been repressing, energy related technologies for a long time, or the powers that be have been doing that. It doesn't matter. But you look up like, GM Chrysler, and they've got hundreds, if not thousands, of patents on fuel efficiency devices, not one of which has ever been, really looked at. They've got all kinds of things. That's an analogy to what's going on here in crypto, where now we've got this new technology coming out, and you definitely have the powers that be wanting to centralize and control, and they're going to have their rule systems that they lay down, like patents and trademarks and things, and this industry is not going to go along well and play with that. It's just not. Ripple's an example, Ripple's an example where most of the people in the blockchain world just look at Ripple and they're what is that? That's not really a blockchain, and it's the banker's coin, or
exactly
coin for Mr. Robot.
But I mean, what's good about it is that that's their little centralized system. So it is a decentralized system but like in a Faraday cage, for the financial institutions. And I want to dial back a little bit, and I want to talk about Steampunk Radio.
Okay. So based off of what we were just talking about, that's my way of kind of fighting this. And in other words, as long as Steem stays around, the word Steampunk Radio will have some value and some usage. But it's not being, run by Steem. There's no coding involved or anything. It's a radio project that's really marketed for people that understand Steem. And right now it's just 24/7 playing, music. We've got like an Alex Jones feed in there. We're getting some other feeds in there, but it's really going to be more of a participatory, decentralized participation type thing. Obviously, people will, it'll start small and maybe grow big. Who knows? But for right now, it's just meant to kind of be I guess you would call it like a get in, not a get out or a sit in or anything, but a get in. It's like, hey, if you want to get into Steem it, and you didn't know how to get involved, well, if you have radio interest, here's one place where you can get involved with Steem it through radio.
Yeah.
And that's the way we're kind of building it out. Started with a Discord room. We've been trying Discord as a way. If the Agrode is on MSP Waves. That's Minnow Support Project, the Waves platform. He has a Discord room called PAL, Peace, Abundance, and Liberty. Has about 10,000 people in there. It's 10,000 Steemians, and then they play their own radio programs inside of Discord, so they don't even go outside of it. If I were to do that, I would have called it Discord Punk Radio. So I'm trying to do this with Steem it, and instead get more and more people involved. Either reading posts or talking about the news that's coming from Steem it, or talking about other Steemians, interviewing other Steemians. Essentially, if you have a Steem it account, you can participate in Steampunk Radio. It's that simple.
So how would I get Crypto Talk Live on Steampunk Radio?
Well, right now we use a back end called radio.co. And to just clarify what the back end is if you're going to put anything out on like a stream, you have to have one little conduit for that, like how to schedule shows and whatnot. And since I'm not one of those people that wants to sit there hitting a button 24/7, putting callers on or things like that, we have this automated service called radio.co. And with radio.co, we can assign people like DJ slots and give them the ability to go live. So when your show is live, if we set that event up on radio.co, then you would just log in, and when you're ready to go live, you would just click a button or two, and now it's being streamed onto the radio show. So essentially, Steampunk Radio is ready for people that are already broadcast ready. If they're not broadcast ready, we're going to work with other things, probably like Discord or Skype, like this, where we can get other callers or talkers to come in. But I'm hoping somebody builds or somebody comes along with a Steemit version of Discord. You know, somebody that can build a crypto, decentralized network, and you know, crypto in its general form, not crypto, let's say blockchain in its general form, is really more of a hardware architecture, because you have to assimilate computer power somehow, and then you have to I guess the word's not delegate, but you have to kind of give back to those computers somehow. So in Bitcoin's model, it was, hey, if you mine on here, then this network will pay you in coins, you know, Bitcoins. So people that come along and put their mining equipment in there, they get paid in Bitcoins, and that's how the miners get paid. There's another one that's called storage, as you well know. You know how storage works, and that's really just hard drive space. So miners on storage just essentially put a lot of hard drives to use for the network, and then they get paid in storage coins. So I'm hoping that somebody's going to come along and take that same type of idea with blockchain and do something like a decentralized Discord, where if you know in Discord, you can run your own server on Discord. You can download the OS, or not the OS, but download the app, and you can actually run your own Discord room where all the network traffic comes through your computer.
You know, hey, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday, I did log in the Discord, and although I haven't seen any issues with it, one of the things that I've noticed is it is a centralized network. So what happens to that point when, I guess, a user gets blocked or an IP address gets blocked, or if your account gets canceled? Like, what happens, or what do you think happens in those situations?
Well, it's giving the keys of control over to whoever is managing that IT space. You know, so in the case, like we saw this exact situation happen with Twitter recently. I don't know if you knew the news about it, but Twitter got called out by Project Veritas. They got a bunch of evidence on these guys acting like the Ministry of Truth from the book 1984, you know, black holing or memory holing stuff, or being able to look into your direct messages and maybe find stuff that they could, you know, hold against you. If you're giving them the keys, they've got it. The nice thing about Steemit, in twofold here, Steemit is more transparent, number one. Everything's public on it, with the exception of a few things you can do privately. But it's public, so it gets around that problem anyways. It's like anybody can read your messages on there, because that's the whole point. But if you built something very similar to that, but made it private, then you could do all these things like direct messaging and people hosting various decentralized servers, and then you'd have an economy based on a crypto that would, you know, relatively pay people based on what they're providing to the economy. So, you know, these old models of how we centralized and gave people great products is what's breaking down. I mean, a blockchain should be able to replace Google here any day now. A blockchain should be able to replace even Apple any day now. But I think these are still things that are 3 and 4 and 5 years away. I'm just getting very much geared up.
I think I agree with you, but one of the things that makes Google so powerful is that they also add services. But as far as like the core beginning of what Google was, just an information source, and like a directory, if you will, of information. The blockchain
search algorithm, search algorithm, and a web crawling service, and then they had backup of bits of the web, so they could scrape it and analyze it and crawl it and do all kinds of things. And then they just got, with the services, like you said, and they didn't trick anybody. They just used a really smart model. The free services as a model. You know, you sign up, you get a free Google email, you get free Google Maps, you get all this other stuff, and people are like, "Wow, this is fantastic! You get all this great stuff." What we've come to find out, years later, is it's because your attention, your info, your metadata is all worth something to somebody. They're taking it and they're making the money off of it. So with Steemit, by decentralizing that and saying, okay, well, your data is your data, you handle it however you want to handle it, and by the way, the monetary system or the economy here is going to work very much like a free market. So if you put good content out there, theoretically, you'll get more money than people that put bad content. We've already seen that model broken, because we know a lot of people that put out crappy content that make a ton of money on it. But that's not the point. The point is, it's theirs. It's not Google's to take. It's not Steemit's to take.
Exactly.
It's not Twitter's to take. It's yours. And that's the nature of this radio project that I wanted to bring together. Was eventually this will go into, there will be technologies, if they're not there yet, but if they're coming, that will decentralize things like communications platforms like Discord. And we use Discord because you can put 3 or 4 or 5 people into a room and get a good, clean audio call or a group call with them, just like you would with a radio network. But in a radio network, you need tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of switches and amplifiers and this and that and mixers. And, I'm trying to say it's now the new age. We're all walking around with NSA spy devices in our pocket that can double as our own production studio.
Exactly.
I mean, people living off their smartphone.
Some of the coolest stuff I've ever made has been on my phone. Actually, one of the things that I find interesting is my brother and I, we were in Austin, and we were sitting in this house, and I said Blaxican. Now, I mean, like you can kind of think about the tail end of the or whatever the backstory is. The conversation doesn't matter.
That's the punchline, but I can figure.
Yeah, but what happened was I was like, yeah, okay, so she's Blaxican, and then my phone spoke up and said Blaxican, a Afro-Cuban restaurant or Afro-Latina restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, and it just flipped. Yeah, I looked at my phone. I'm like, dude, how'd you do that? So then I had no idea. I mean, I guess I had an idea. I was just being oblivious.
Was it Siri or was it Cortana?
It was Google. Like whoever Google is, Google. Okay, yeah. It was OK Google. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I've since turned that feature off, but yeah.
I would like to think that it's off, but yeah, it's fun that they give us switches and we think we have control over it, but I think ultimately we don't, because the fact that it was on and it caught that and said it gave you an answer that's quite frightening. I mean, this is why I do what I do in the science fiction world, because I realize that the truth is stranger than fiction. And you don't really have to make things up. You just tell people these stories that you hear, and as long as you tell them it's science fiction, because otherwise people lose their shit. I mean, lose their stuff. And that's why, because if I was in that room, I probably would have freaked.
Man, yeah. I was just thinking the other day about, are you familiar with the Google Fire TV sticks?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how people purchase those?
I think those are Amazon Fire TV sticks.
Yeah, they're. I didn't mean Google. I don't know why I said that. Amazon Fire TV sticks. It was a brain fart because we were just talking about Google. But so people take those and they don't reprogram. They sideload them with a few apps and program the app to give people live television and movies and other things to kind of circumvent that whole paying for cable nonsense that a lot of people do. Well, I was in Best Buy the other day, and some lady was like, you should get the protection plan. I was like, no, I don't want the protection plan. And then she was like, yeah, you should, because when you try to put Kodi on it, it's going to crash, and then you want to be able to bring it back. And then one of the guys started laughing, and he was like, yeah, Amazon's been cracking down on that. And then, but that's not true. If you think about it, I was loading up my my new Amazon Fire TV stick, and then a message pops up which lets you know that the Alexa voice remote is always listening to bring you directed content that that suits your interest. So it turns out that whether you have Amazon Echo, whether you have Google Home or whatever, that device is always listening. But what was funny about it is why do you think they don't stop people from actually side loading these apps and getting the free cable? Because they're actually getting more value out of
getting more market data out of
yeah, they're getting more market data so they can figure out how to target something to you, because you may have it because the software on it gives you free cable, but eventually they'll customize a marketing package to direct something to you, and then essentially get you to buy whatever it was that they wanted you to buy in the first place. They'll just market it to you the right way. And I just thought that was so funny that they're making billions of dollars off of selling this little $40 thing based off of the information that they extract out of the users.
And they're perfectly happy with letting you put third-party apps and things on there and giving you the perception that you have some control over it. But ultimately, they have the keys. Ultimately, they have the control, and they're centralizing the data and they're monetizing it. And so it just goes to show that our attention, that our activities, our data is valuable. And crypto is showing how to break that model of where that exchange of value should be taking place. So that's why I love about the Steemit experiment. It's still a great experiment because it's grown in value. The total, what we have over 600,000 users now, I think, on that network.
Yeah. Well, last time I looked, it was approaching 600,000. So I like to think that we're over that now.
Yeah, and in that time, it's also breached the $2 billion mark, but it's settled back down to around 1.5 billion. So in total, it's crypto, which is generated out of thin air, just like every crypto is, but it's tied into this network. And that network's backing for that crypto is the content, the data that people have shared on there.
Because it's valuable.
Right, and everybody is a stakeholder now. Everybody has, there's a little bit of stake in your wallet. There's a little bit of stake in my wallet. There's a little bit of stake in Bob's wallet. And there's a whole bunch of stake in a few other wallets, and that's the part that I think they missed, because had they really been thinking it through, they would have realized that particular activity of extracting a great deal of the value out and putting it in a few people's hands is the same thing as centralizing, is the same thing as being Jack, what's his name from Twitter, or Zucker Face from Facebook.
Zach Zuckerface.
Yeah, these guys should not have the power over our stuff, but they do. And Twitter, and Steemit was supposed to be kind of a Twitter competitor, kind of, because you have a lot more that you can post in there than
well, I think Steemit is more of a Reddit competitor, and Zapple is the microblogging or Twitter aspect. Yeah. I'm not sure if you used it. It gives you 240 characters. You can add a video and a picture. Really? Yeah, 240 characters. So that's 100 more than what you get with Twitter, and you get paid for it.
Right.
I use it occasionally when I don't really have. In fact, I should have used it today to post about the show going live, but I
you do it from your computer or an app?
Actually, so the app should be coming out shortly, but I actually use I use it on my computer.
Zapple,
yeah.
Zapple.com. Yeah, I've used it once, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but I'll wait for the app. I'll wait for the smartphone app. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for a decent smartphone app, and that's the other thing that blows my top, because it's like, well, you've got all this money now, guys. You're the developers. Build us a dang, an app that runs on my smartphone. But they're waiting for other developers to come and do that. And so we have eSteem, and unfortunately the eSteem app is just not functional on my iPhone, or it's still very buggy on Androids, from what I understand too. But I love the idea of competing with guys like Twitter and Reddit. And you're right, it is more like a Reddit because of the aggregation of the articles. But it comes down to everybody's pocket is their own little stake on that platform, which is something you don't see with Twitter, where you get flooded with like, hey, 5,000 votes for a tweet. That's great, but my vote should be worth more than half of those votes, in my opinion, because I use it more, or because I have more money, or because I have more prestige. And there's no way of doing that in those older models. We're seeing it in an experiment with Steemit, where, okay, not everybody's vote is the same, and that's kind of cool because we haven't done that before. So let's see how that works. And that's leading to a whole bunch of new exploratory discoveries in the world of blockchain. But I really feel like we're going to have things like decentralized Googles, decentralized Amazons, decentralized.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time as once the funding and all that stuff gets there, boom. Like the world is going more towards decentralization, and that's, I like that. Like I don't. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the driving force. At least that's the driving political force behind. Behind what makes the blockchain popular, or at least decentralized blockchains, because it's only a matter of time before, well, we already know IBM, and then you got XRP and Ripple, kind of centralizing. Actually, what I think is funny is that might actually be a way that these companies can figure out a way to build something around whatever blockchain is already there, to figure out a way to kind of shove it all together and be like, no, lasso it.
I've seen some of that. I've seen some of that with like the MadeSafe coin or OmniCoin, the Omni project. There's
Yep.
a few projects that are building on top of like the actual Bitcoin blockchain, and that's good because if somebody wants to come out and reinvent, like make a new blockchain, that's great. Make a new blockchain. But if they don't design the blockchain to work with blockchains that are already 7, 8, 9 years old, there's something wrong with that. I really feel like the idea is that we have to keep some of these older blockchains kind of instantiated in the process as well. So with Bitcoin being the first blockchain and creating the first digital gold out there, I feel like every other blockchain out there, with the exception of a few, because some are just way different, but should be finding a way to work with the Bitcoin blockchain, because that thing is impossible to break. That thing is impossible to stop. It's so big. I mean, it's bigger than what the top 500 supercomputers put together, as far as hashing power goes, as far as the need to keep the ledger intact. I mean, the brute force strength required to trick the Bitcoin network is just unbearably complex to have to consider. And so when somebody comes along and says, we're going to build a new blockchain, and then they don't go and assess that value and build it into their blockchain, they bypass that value. It's like, why should I even look at your blockchain as valuable if you're not going to look at the older blockchains as valuable and use it in some way? Because there's a lot of data that's storable on that. I've heard, like, are you familiar with Craig Wright, who's been notoriously
No. So is he on?
notorious.
He's notorious for what?
He's claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and then apparently he's been proven wrong on many occasions. But I happen to think the guy had enough knowledge about the blockchain to know what he's talking about. He's given a number of talks about it. And when you get right down to it, when the blockchain is functioning and running, and it almost
Hey,
has its own OS.
Frank,
Yeah.
you mind holding? I got a caller coming in.
Sure, let's talk.
Thanks for calling Crypto Talk Live. This is Ryan. Are you there?
I'm still here, but
I know you are.
no one.
Caller?
Bueller?
Ryan?
Ah,
I don't know, man. You might be the you might be the only guy here. It looks like we might be having a little difficulty with patching him in. I believe he's going to call right back.
we'll give it a try again.
Hello, this is Ryan.
Yes, it is. Oh man, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
No. I hear you now. I couldn't hear you a minute ago.
How's that now?
That's perfect. All right, so this is Brandon, right? I don't think he likes talking to me.
I don't think the powers that be like us talking about this.
Exactly. It's probably the government. No, he's calling right back. Yeah, we lost him, but we're gonna get him back on the air.
It's probably the same software that was running on your smartphone when it decided to answer your question without you directly addressing it. Some of this stuff just runs automated.
My Blaxican question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be careful too. Like we tell a lot of like silly jokes and whatnot, and I'm always trying to figure out like if my phone's listening or not. All right, Brandon. Sorry about that, man. I know we lost you. Appreciate you calling us back.
No problem, guys. Can you hear me now?
Oh, absolutely. That's perfect. You're loud and clear. So I'm just to let you know, like we've been talking about Steemit earlier. We were talking about Coinigy, talking about decentralization. Now, I have Frank Bacon on, who's he's a colleague of mine, if you will, on Steemit. And Frank Bacon, this here's Brandon Taylor. Brandon Taylor runs the Baton Rouge, is it a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency meetup, and also he's one of the co-organizers for the Lafayette Bitcoin and cryptocurrency meetup. And I don't know if you heard earlier, if you were listening when I said I learned more there than I had at any of the other meetups.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up, that I'm like, these meetups are so potent and powerful, because that's really where the magic happens,
On me, but I'm glad you could hear me. But yeah, I started the Baton Rouge and the Lafayette Bitcoin meetup, and Ryan
turned me on to Steem it, and I got an account verified yesterday, and I did like my first post, but I haven't dived into it yet.
You can definitely, I guess, yeah, when you do your first post, man, I wish you had sent me a text message or something so I could have gone in and shared it in the right places so the right people can see it. But yeah, I mean, it's even if it's only been a day, I can definitely get that out for you. But you want to tell the listeners what your name is? Your Steem it handle.
Just introduce myself? It's so hard to hear you, but yeah, I'm Brett. You want to just introduce myself? Is that what you said, Ron?
No, I'm actually talking about your Steem it handle.
Oh, my Steem it. Okay, Steem it. On Steem it, I go by the name BioMyCoBit, which is BioMyCoBit, and that's a company I started recently for my work in doing research in biofeedback as well as micro restoration and then Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
And
So, I just got on there. I was looking for a Facebook, Twitter type alternate, and at the meetup in Lafayette, the guys mentioned Steem it, so I thought I'd check it out.
And you want to explain how you plan on integrating BioMyCoBit into blockchain?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things that I've done a lot of work on is EEG, EKG, and other types of biofeedback. And so I'm interested in tying in biofeedback with, like, say if two participants are in an interaction and they have, like, correlation between, like, their heart rates for a certain amount of time, then you can set a trigger to then do, some type of transaction or an event. So I'm interested in that kind of aspect of tying together biofeedback with blockchain and decentralized applications. I think there's going to be a lot of, that's something that I haven't really done recent research looking into the combination of the two fields. I've always thought about how the ability to have like environments where like you cannot enter the environment until you can achieve a certain effect with your biofeedback levels, or for the idea of like couples therapy where say unless both of them are able to go under a certain stress level, then they wouldn't be able to their microphones wouldn't would be muted. So they'd have to be under a certain level of stress before they can actually hear what the other person's saying. So, I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of play in that as far as looking at intelligent communication environments. But I haven't looked at,
I'm going to use it in politics.
Current field is on that.
Hey, Brandon, I'm not sure if you just heard what Frank Bacon said, but I thought that was kind of funny. He said that that would be a great use in a political arena.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What do you think about that idea? About
I'm sorry, say one more time. I'm sorry. It's very hard to hear you, but I'm glad you can hear me.
yeah, that he wants to. He'd love to see that integrated into the political arena. In politics.
In the political arena?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of weird to think about that as far as, when you go to work for a company and whatever, they have the Polygraph Act, so you cannot, your employer cannot give you a polygraph, basically, to see if you're lying or not. But
Right.
But that's something that had to be considered like 50 or 60 years ago. And so now, like 10, 15 years ago when I was buying an EEG, a single channel was $1,000, and now you can get one with Bluetooth for $100. And so, absolutely in politics, with an fMRI, you can tell if somebody's lying or not, what types of activities going on in their brain, what areas of the brain are firing. I do see that as far as having intelligent communication environments where in the future where it's like, the participants agree to be biomonitored and, what comes out. Because, even nowadays, you could just, with a simple web app, you could take somebody's web camera and point it at their forehead and tell you what their heart rate is. So,
I've never even heard of that. I said I've never heard of that.
Yep. Yeah, you can get that little Python plugin library to do that pretty easily.
Man, so what sparked your interest in the biofeedback? And if you could give us that example that you gave us in Lafayette about like being at like a conference or whatever.
Okay, so I did biological engineering at LSU for my undergraduate, so I'm not exactly sure where I got interested in biofeedback, but I started looking at biofeedback as far as how it ties in with eye contact, and we did some research with single channel EEGs and looking at eye contact and the timing of eye contact. And the example that I gave you was in Lafayette.
It was about like if Andres was sitting on a stage.
I lost it for a second. Okay, by the conference. Okay, I got you now.
Yeah.
So I attended the Texas Bitcoin conference in 2014, the first one, and we were at a talk, and I believe it was Jeffrey Tucker from the Mises Institute, and either sitting across from him was, I think it's either Stephen Mollinger from Free Domain Radio, or it might have even been Andrea Papanopoulos. And so they're having this conversation, and around them is approximately 200 or 300 of us, just geeking out at seeing our heroes having this conversation, but none of the dynamics of the crowd were being captured. So I could see where you set up a wallet specifically for an event. We could have it where, say if there's like a 10, so for a public talk or something of this nature, you could say, the fee is $10, you could say 5 goes to the venue or whatever. And then as one of the participants makes a point of something that you're interested in or a topic that you're interested in, then you would microtip. You would microtip to signify the amount that you tip would signify how much you're interested in. And now with technology like Google speech to text immediately, and just how everything's fast now with Python and stuff. Pretty right after the talk, you could basically have an XY graph on a like a 60-inch monitor that would say show the peak of where the tipping occurred, and then say here's by correlation, here's who in the crowd should get together, how y'all should get together, because Brandon and Ryan tip the most at Bitcoin and decentralized applications, and these other people tip the most at ICOs.
So one of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking is I know you just joined Steemit, and there's always people developing really awesome technologies on the Steem blockchain. And honestly, I think something like a dating app, you would be rewarded handsomely by the Steemit community for something. Yeah, because as Frank can tell you, we definitely have there's a lot of things that are being developed on the platform, and you get rewarded nicely for it, and there's a need as the platform grows. So just hearing you talk about it, in my mind, any sort of decentralized dating app would be cool, but I was just kind of comparing it to how it would work out for the Steemit platform. But yeah, that's
I'm definitely looking forward to using Steemit, man. Facebook is horrible, and it gets even lamer when your parents are now on it. And as far as back when I saw The Matrix when I was a teenager, I felt like that was me in a way. And now it's all of us. We're all in our own Matrix too, trying to find community. So anywhere where we could get ourselves a better feedback signal than just a like or a retweet, then that's a good way to go. And it feels, have a feel of we're a more of a community than something like on Facebook. It's just kind of the way it's just.
It's watered down for sure.
Into old tribes and old communities,
Hey, how did the Baton Rouge meetup go yesterday?
It went all right. It did. You know, I had like I capped the RSVP at like 35, and only like 10 people came. And I think I'm gonna switch it up and have one that's more of like a just for newbies, and then have one that's actually dedicated.
Yeah.
And, you know, because if I wanted to, like we were talking about in Lafayette, you know, if we said like, you know, this meetup would help you, you know, bring $10, will help you set up a Bitcoin wallet, and put, you know, then like there'd be tons of people.
Exactly.
But you know, since I've been interested in all this stuff since, you know, been around since 2013 or so, I'm trying to find like even though our meetup in Lafayette was small, it's like if you and your friend came through, which has been like, it was a good discussion. That felt great.
Exactly. That's when I left. I was like, man.
We want to get new people on board and stuff and everything, but I'm not like you know, a missionary or anything like that.
Well, I definitely tell you what, you know, with me going back and forth to Louisiana now, I would definitely put my name in the hat to see about assisting when it comes to helping find, you know, helping explain and just kind of getting the word out. Because, I mean, I can tell you get a lot on your plate, and we all know Bob's young at heart, but I don't think he hangs out where the young people hang out.
It's just, I mean, everybody's busy, and we have better niches to do. And, you know, a few years ago, I had more time. I wasn't doing, like, jiu-jitsu now like I'm doing, and have a few other projects. You know, I had a lot more time for just walking people through the initial steps. But now it's like wanting to start reading more of these, you know, white papers and being more of a type of, you know, like going to, like having my meetup and having some of the other meetups I've gone to, it's like really realizing that, you know, just read a couple more white papers a week, and, you know, have more, considerably more technical expertise than a lot of people in the area.
Exactly. Well, and that's, I mean, Houston has a deep pool of very talented people. So, you know, we know that knowledge is out there. And so just about anybody out here can, you know, kind of throw a stone, and someone either has a wallet or has known someone, you know, or knows someone that they can contact about helping them get started. Even though the information they get may not be great information, there's still some sort of help just kind of from the average person. But I've seen quite a few. I've been getting a lot more requests for that type of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I did that all last year. You know, like, that's so 2017, fourth quarter. But,
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be good in a way anyway to have a split, because like, so, because I know some of the, you know, one time for one of the meetups, a guy came, and, you know, he was there for just a few minutes early. He was talking to me, like, questioning if he should stay or not, if he thought it was too, like, going to be too newbie or whatever like that, you know. But I think having, like, a delineation between this is basically new, kind of getting people on board kind of thing. We might, you know, generally go over some, you know, over the stuff versus actually having like three big topics that we might have panels or something about, and actually have people that are working in that. I think that's going to be better.
exactly, like a beginner, or, yeah, novice or beginner, Bitcoin for beginners, and then, of course, you have the other one for whomever. All right, Brandon, so I guess let the listeners know where they can find you. We're about out of time here. I want to thank you for your call, but before you head out, I want you to let us know where can we find you.
Well, cool. I appreciate it, Ryan. I just joined SteemPUNK, and I'm on the BioMyCoBit. So that's BioMyCoBit on SteemPUNK, and then on the other way you give me is on Twitter. I'm my own myth. That's the best way to get in touch with me.
So My Own Myth, and on SteemPUNK, you are BioMyCoBit. So that's BioMyCoBit, right?
CIT.
Awesome. Yeah. So hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks for calling in. I'll definitely follow him. You know, he's
Tell him he got an upvote from me. I just gave him a full power upvote. So
there you go. See, Brandon, you just got an upvote. So it looks like you're You're coming on there. Might have earned you probably. What's your vote worth? 10 cents? I'm just kidding.
No, 224 right now.
I'm just messing with you.
Next time, too, I won't be on the road, so I can have better reception, maybe we do the track thing, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we'll chime you in, and I'll be seeing you on Tuesday.
Sounds good, my man.
All right, thanks, Brandon.
I think you guys.
All right. Hey, Frank.
Yes.
No, that's
Great
cool.
call.
All right. Hey, yeah, thanks. He's I just met him the other day, and a really knowledgeable dude. I want to thank you, Frank, for calling in. If you guys don't know, he's at Frank Bacon. He's a mystery. He's an international man of mystery on Steemint. Like you said, you don't exist in the here.
A mystery novel.
Yeah. So, but you can find him at Frank Bacon, and some people like him, some people hate him, but at least he's being honest. And
Yes,
so for that, we're thankful.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right, Frank.
Hey, I want to thank you, my friend, Extraordinary Pilot, for having me on, and I love your show, and can't wait to talk to you more about the little projects we could be working on. So, anytime, my friend.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. See you.
You take care.
All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank you this week for tuning in to Crypto Talk Live. I want you to tune in again next week on Wednesdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and hopefully we'll have some more. We'll have some more guests in the studio other than my son, who seems to be bored to death here. But I still think he enjoyed himself because he got to play the Switch. We learned a little, and we taught a little. So we'll see you again next week. And that's my advice is to HODL, HODL, don't sell.